everybody. It's Leala and Beau.
Hello.
Welcome back to my channel.
My channel.
We're here to talk about Girls Planet Gin Goo Goo Goo.
Goo goo goo.
Episode 10. It's been 10 weeks of this.
Oh my God.
Torture.
If you can,
No.
will you and the listeners allow me 2 minutes for just a bit of a rant before we begin here?
Yes.
Just a bit of a rant.
Yes.
Okay, so let's say that there are there's a planet, and let's call this planet K. And on this planet, at the premier scientific institution, they employ this group of scientists called the Masters.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Masters go to the mnet government on this planet K and say there are a lot of dangers out there in space for us on the K planet. One of the greatest dangers are near planet objects or asteroids.
Okay.
On the horizon, we've been looking. There's one coming. Let's call this asteroid C. Okay. It's huge. It's gonna, if it hits K planet, it will destroy it. Society will crumble.
Uh-huh.
And so the government people at mnet, the government, whatever they're called, says, okay, well, what can we do? And the scientists say, the master scientists say, we have two solutions. But let's go with the first one.
We can neg the asteroid.
Let's go with, that's possible. But we're going to go with the first solution, which is the subtle solution. For years, we had these other solutions, but we've come up with the subtlest solution possible. We're going to send a spacecraft, and it's called the USS, but you don't. It lands on the C asteroid, and using thrusters, just nudges that asteroid just a little bit, so that by the time it reaches K planet, it's that little bit, those few inches, turn into thousands of miles, and it scoots right past us.
Okay.
So they do it. Send the aircraft, it lands. It's like a robot. They can control it from K planet, and it does it. Mm-hmm. And everybody's happy at mnet government.
Yep.
Everybody's freaking out. It's working. But then, after say a month, the master scientists go back to mnet government and say, we screwed up. You screwed up, whoever screwed up. But we overcorrected, and it's actually headed even more straight for us, right in the greatest concentration of K citizens. What do we do? And the mnet government says, you know what, we're tired of this subtle approach. We're going to take a spaceship let's call it the USS Dion, and we're going to launch it, and it's piloted by a famous astronaut called Dion's mom. She's going to land on the asteroid, she's going to drop off a nuclear bomb, and she's going to fly back. Just like Bruce Willis. Uh-huh. And it's going to blow the asteroid apart. The scientists say, well, we don't, and mnet's like, no. Here, it's our turn. They send the ship up. Dion's mom lands USS Dion, on the asteroid, flies back. When she's at a safe distance, it blows up. And the government says, mnet government says, this is amazing. It worked. I can't believe this worked. And the masters say, Now what you've done is you've created dozens of not so large, but still very deadly pieces, and they're going to rain down on K planet and cause chaos, confusion, fear, sadness, starvation, financial collapse. And it's already starting here in episode 10. And we'll carry on for at least, let's say, 2 episodes. And that's how I summed up episode 10.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was an excellent
Thanks
analogy.
for like and subscribe. See you later.
My analogy for this week, though I was going to talk about off topic, was that it's been a really annoying week for K-pop fans, and I'm talking about myself, only myself.
Okay.
In that we had to fight the Ticketmaster wars
Oh, no.
3 times this week
I didn't like
for
seeing
BTS
that.
tickets. We had to go through that Hunger Game, Squid Game.
Squid Game.
Then on Friday, B dropped the bomb of this episode and ruined my whole Friday.
Yes, it wasn't a good week. I don't think you were the only one who was ruined by it. I think a lot of people.
Okay. We can get into that,
Okay.
but that's what it's been a week, everybody.
been a heck of a
Okay, let's get started. So, episode 10. In this episode, we start off with the Warm and Fuzzy fan meeting. We talked about that last time, the drive-in fan meeting. And then we go on to the creation mission performances and who the winning team is, which at this point, does anyone think that that even matters anymore? I sure don't. Raise your hand. I don't think it matters, but anyway, let's go. And then the final mission announcement. There's sort of a final mission, unclear.
Question mark.
And then at the end of our discussion today, I want to talk about my tier list. I'm thinking about things differently now. I'm not thinking in terms of top 9. I'm thinking in terms of a tier list.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're going to go over the fan meeting first?
Shall we begin?
Yes, please.
Yes.
I was going to say.
I don't have anything other than this image because I was having a hard time with my presentation today. But we had the fan meeting. A lot of it we saw already in the fan cams.
Yes, and for those who don't know, it was a drive-up fan meeting, very hot according to all standards. I couldn't hear the cars running, and they had their windows up for safety, so maybe they were running their air conditioners, I don't know. But as you do in a drive-in movie, they had their radios that sounded like tuned to the frequency, and that's why in some you hear inside the cars, because they put cameras in each car, you'll hear a little bit of the audio as they hear it in the car. It kind of sounds rough, because it is drive-in technology, but that's how they did it safely, supposedly.
Yeah. You kind of wish they could have just done an audience, but, you got to do what you got to do to keep everybody from catching.
Yeah, and in a similar example, One did a similar
whatever.
concert last year, I think, where they had a
drive-in concert,
and all they could do was wave their... I think they did their lights, too, because it was at night, and it was kind of sad, but it worked. It worked.
Yeah, so a lot of the things that they did, like they sang some songs, they did some dances. We had already discussed it because we had seen it in fan cams, but Bora went up there and was like, the scene from Legally Blonde where she's like, "What, like it's hard?"
Yeah, she nailed
for that high note in my C. And the non-crappy fan cam version is even better. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
I like that she just,
cute.
yeah, sure, I'll go up there and just destroy this IU song. People don't understand.
I'll just destroy this song. Like, sorry, Jiyun, what, like it's hard?
Yeah, Bora can do
man.
that. This is why I've been talking about Bora so much, is she can do that.
And then, Yujin danced with the helicopter team, and Yanin got her very
cute.
Forced redemption arc end of the story.
It was cute. I like that Yujin wasn't planning on going up there. It didn't look like, and she snuck up there, which was really cute. And Kaibin got over her win,
it was cute.
And let her get in the front, and that was really cute.
Yeah, they did some dances. And then, now that I'm looking at Youngin here, they're like, "Oh, we're going to do a song, and it's going to be really amazing."
Oh, my God.
And Youngin, she's like, "I'm going to do a song with one of my favorite people." And everyone's like, "Oh, is she going to do Kick It? Is Gia here? And like, "No, it's Diane."
Which is fine. I like Diane fine, but at first it's the people some of the people
fans
say, "Oh, is
were
it
like,
Gia?"
"Is Gia here? Did she come back to do this dance?"
then
And it was like, "No."
mnet writes it across the screen. Could it be Gia? And I was like, "Geez, like that's
Don't
so mean.
do that.
That's
Don't
so mean."
emphasize it. Don't remind me that girl is there.
Gia's
so
like,
bad.
"I have a cut on my arm," and they're like, "Here's some salt. Put that in there. Rub that right in there. Go swim in the ocean."
Would you like some salt
that
for that wound?
It was very cute. I like all the little performances were fun, especially the ones where they were a little bit like the Boro singing IU, like the fantasy football kind of thing. What can we do that's really neat, and the fans requested it and stuff like that. There were some cute questions in there, and then I like that everybody thought it was done, and then they came out and passed out presents in person, which, could you imagine, like you're just sitting there and all of a sudden Bora or Shauna comes up to your car and he's like, "What the heck?"
It was cute. That was really sweet too, because I liked what Mashiro said, and like shouting, like, again, both of them have been kind of in this, like, trying to go into the industry for years now.
Yeah.
And this is the first time they've ever seen a fan.
Had a fan next to them.
Like this, I have a fan, and that they're in front of me. Like, I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh."
Well, Youngin at one point, like, almost jumped in the person's window. I'm like, "Youngin, no, it's not safe." They didn't. It was just a really nice moment, but also illustrative of how sick of COVID we are. We're just like, can we just get rid of it? This is ridiculous.
Concerts.
That was fun though. I liked that they did it.
It was cute. And then we had the 4 performances. We'll go in the order that they happened on the show. So we'll start with the shoot team. They
were cute.
What else can you say?
I mentioned in the last episode, I thought, and it showed on when they were doing their interim check, I said this too, if they don't push a little bit, it's not going to win. Because they're doing something that everybody expects, similar to the Snake team, which we'll cover. where you can't do something that's been done so much without giving it a little extra. And they warned Eugen of that. You've got to start getting these people to crack. Like, you can't have these mistakes. Now, granted, they did it early on in the process. It was probably a day after two days after they've been practicing it. But I knew last episode that I said they wouldn't win, but I knew that they would have problems with. We've seen this before. I'm not saying it's bad. They did a great job. They're a really good group. I would love to see them as a group. But it was a bit too heavy-handed, you know?
So with this team and like with this song in general, we got to finally hear the full version of all the songs. It was probably my least favorite actual song. And the only real takeaway I had is that, like, I'm not seeing anything we haven't seen before already from each of these participants.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I was saying.
Literally all of them. They ignore that song in the background. That's our dryer.
Probably can't hear it.
So we've seen all of them do this style of song, almost the exact same thing from Maya. We all know they're fully capable of being adorable, and like there was nothing surprising here, and they did a good job, and good for them.
Right. And they're kind of going for that teen sporty kind of thing, like a weekly or whatever, which is fine. I just thought it needed a little bit more. Bai was good, but she just is quiet when she sings. That could be a mixed thing or whatever, but she's very good in a lot of ways. I'd say
they had nothing to say about her.
There was nothing.
They refused to ever show anyone commenting on her performance.
I think they did once this whole 10 weeks, 10 episodes.
They had nothing to say. And if I was to have something to say, it'd be like she wasn't very expressive, but
yeah, she
they had nothing to say about it.
She does have a bit of a problem with her face not being as expressive and
when you stand her next to Monami and even Ruan and Maya and Rurika, like they're all very expressive and she kind of isn't, but they had nothing to say about it.
But
so
she's
that's
good though.
fine.
They did a good job. All these people did.
Sinway, meme queen of the
I was worried about her and she did a little rough, but they didn't have anything
cute.
but good things to say about this.
Yeah,
and I thought there was definitely some rough spots in there, but maybe they said something negative and we just didn't see it.
Yeah, it was cute.
It was nice.
There's nothing more to say.
If you're into this kind of music, it was good. Shoot.
Next up, we had Utopia Team, which was our favorite and my favorite to win. But spoiler alert, they did not. With our fairy princess anthem, Utopia.
I think with this one, what really infuriated me about this, there was a couple things. They got rid of Shauna and placed in her place Jing Chao, who is good, but is nowhere near the stability or the popularity, all these things as Shauna. And it makes me wonder why they did. And I think because they thought her voice fit a little bit more into this group. The problem is you have 4 ladies here, or 5 ladies, I'm sorry, who kind of have all a similar vibe to they're perfect for the song. Shauna would have had that clear voice that would have been that little bit of difference that would have helped. And I think she would have been more stable. There is one point in this performance, if you watch Jing Chao's part, you might not, you'll see it in her fan cam, but it's much easier to see in the group. In the group edit where they're cutting shots, she literally just stopped singing at one point. Yeah. And I thought,
towards
dear
the
golly.
end.
And then Chaehyun, everybody's darling lately, they gave her a hard time because she messed up. She wasn't quite
a little bit, but what was that about? Like, where is this coming from? Like, I don't think we've seen her like have struggle or anything, but she seemed to be having a hard time, and they were giving her a hard time, and I'm not sure what threw her off her game lately. Because we know she's fully capable of this.
Of this song, especially, it's
like fully 100% capable.
It's well
of
within
this.
her range and all that.
Yeah,
there are very few contestants who have not buckled under the pressure. Yeso, Bora.
That's true. That's true.
People like that.
That's true.
Eugen, even to a point.
Yeah.
People like that who have just continually showed up and done their job. Some of these contestants, it's getting to them. You can tell. And I think Chaehyun got such a boost when they said, "Oh, your voice is so precious," and she's getting all these votes. And now was she in top 9 last time? I can't remember.
I honestly can't remember.
But she's doing well. And she's running up against a wall where her voice might not go so easily, or she's having you can't deliver this underconfidence. She's
just nervous and underconfident. I'm not sure why. And when they were like picking between Jing Chao and Shauna, we're like, okay, that's fine, whatever. Part of me thinks they picked Jing Chao because she was in top 9, because then afterwards they showed us that like even a week into rehearsals, she hadn't learned the whole song yet. Which
That
is
was-
really surprising, like to the point of like, girl, get it together. What are you doing, girl?
Yeah, Bora was attempting to speak some Chinese
Bora was
to her
like,
to help her
even,
out.
you know, we had talked about it last time. They were like, oh, isn't it so cute that Bora is learning a little Chinese to help her? It's because she was having to go out of her way to help her because she hadn't even learned the song fully. It was kind of like, girl, what goes on?
And of course, as I've said before, speaking of Bora, you have someone who has innate ability. She dances fine. She never messes up a dance.
Nope.
She never messes up a note.
Nope.
She has the most powerful voice in all of this entire group, easily. She can carry notes and do anything. She can even rap. They spoke to every one of these girls. They literally showed them speaking to every one. All four of them watched the video, except for Bora. They just don't
Yeah.
acknowledge. And I want to go back and watch a supercut of all the Bora moments. Now, I guarantee you they probably have never given her a compliment, maybe
Yeah.
once. The greatest they
Yeah.
did was when she was singing Fifth Season, and she
Yeah.
sang the high note. They
Right.
didn't say Bora specific. They said you're a good leader, but they didn't mention her singing.
Right.
And what happens is you have somebody
What is
with
going on?
Well, you have somebody who has such expected ability that they're wanting to see growth in contestants. Bora's already grown. She is there. She's
Yeah.
just in a small, crappy label, and they don't. Now, again, they could be cutting that out, but as she's looked sad after a lot of evaluations because maybe she's not getting any feedback, and she's thinking, "Am I doing well? Am I doing?"
It's frustrating. You know what? She's too good for this show, and she's too good for you, Mnet. Like, you know, not that I trust FNC to do well by Cherry Bullet, but I really hope that, like, if she goes home and they all go back, her and May, and Cherry Bullet gets a comeback, and then they do really well. Because, come on, at this point in time, like, I really feel like if this was produced 48, she would have been gotten a lot of praise because they praised the main vocalist in that, I think, in Produce. Like, what is going on? They're just ignoring her.
No, they've given. Now, to be fair, the edits do not ignore her. She gets a lot of great edits and a storyline there. But that's because
But
she
her
does a lot of
skill
stuff.
set
That's
is
because
ignored.
she does a lot of stuff. Mnet wants content. She provides him with content, funny content,
Yeah,
rap.
yeah.
She's sweet. All these different. She gets
Yeah,
up at 6:30 in the
that's
morning.
true.
There's always something with her. But I have a feeling that it's their attempt to keep her in voters' eyes, but they might have overdone it with the Bora edits, and maybe now they're thinking we need to pull back a bit, similar to how they're doing
don't
Diane.
know.
So I don't know. I have a feeling she'll make the next cut, Planet Pass, or just getting to number 13. I looked on YouTube, and of the views of all the individual, she actually, if you count, she just needs 8 people below her. And she's in 18, right? Or,
Yeah.
8 people.
Yeah.
There's at least 9 people with lower views than her
Yeah.
and lower likes. So there's some. I think she'll still
Yeah.
make it. If she doesn't make it, she has brought so much attention to herself. She needs
And,
to. She needs
to Cherry Bullet.
And to Cherry Bullet.
I'm really rooting for them to just have this resurgence after the show and
Yeah.
it just be really amazing.
But she's 22.
That's
She
my-
could
that's my
easily
feeling
she could
about
easily pull a Yuri
Laura.
or an IU solo thing and own it and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
have a career as a solo
Yeah.
singer. She's that good.
Yeah, and we didn't mention Yeso and Urena, but they're both angelic and perfect.
Oh,
so-
they're totally good. I love how Urina's voice. She has it's hard to explain, but it builds power in the end of each sentence.
Okay.
It's really good.
Let's move on to the next team, which is you plus me, you
You
plus
plus
me.
me.
I had this song in my head for like 2 days, even off of just the little bit that we heard, and then
Well,
hearing the full thing. This of all the songs is my favorite song. Like it's in the top of my playlist. This is a bop. I love it.
Yeah. I had it stuck in my head too and removed it until you had just sang
You
that, so I
plus
appreciate it.
me, you. I
This
love
is the
this
most
song.
eyes one-y song. You know,
It's by the guy who wrote. I think it is, if I'm not
Sequence?
mistaken.
Was it
It's
the
by the guy
Sequence?
who wrote Sequence because it really sounds like Eyes One. Anyway, so they're the team that won. Surprise, yay! They were the team that had the members that were Planet Pass. They had the members that had been dropped out of their other teams, but rose to the occasion. Sooyeon got center and like killed it, did really well. Youngoon, I think her vocals really suit this song, and she did super
She
well.
suits this kind of
Shauna
group,
again, also I think sounds really amazing and suits a song like this.
yeah.
Katone's rap?
Katone
Are you
was, yeah, I
kidding?
love Katone.
She kind of killed it. Like, good for you, girl.
Everybody pulled their weight in this for sure. Mishiro, I like a lot. We all like her a lot, but I think that she she's just stable. But I want to see something a little oomph from
I
her. She's
appreciate
just
that
kinda
she
there.
didn't feel the need to be the center of attention.
Yeah, she's
even though
good.
she was the only top 9 member of this, she led the team and then didn't go for center or anything. She was like, you know what, I'm cool, and did well and did her part and led the team. Like I appreciate that she's not like fighting for
She's a potential for the leader in the final group too, and she's Japanese.
Yeah.
And people forget that because she.
But her
speaks
Korean is so good.
Obviously.
But
But I thought this was the best song. Once I watched it all, I knew that Utopia. As soon as they said, "You guys sounded beautiful," but to Utopia,
then
you knew they weren't
they
winning,
weren't going to win. Yeah.
which is fine. And as soon as they started talking to this group, you're like, oh yeah. And once you heard it, you're like, yeah, this was the most smooth. And I think it's probably because it was thrown together last minute. It gave them a little bit of they didn't just fall back to the same old roles. It gave them a little hunger, a little bit of energy maybe. Katoni, though, I loved her so much in this just because she wasn't
me
perfect,
too.
but
Good
she's
for
really
you,
she's
man.
really fitting into this.
She seems
role.
so happy lately too, because she just thought that she wasn't going to make it, and she wrote her mnet diss track about no screen time, and then got the Planet Pass and has been here and just smiling, and I'm just like, you know what? Good for you.
Yeah, and they all did well. I can completely agree with this
song.
winning. I'd rather Utopia win, of course, but I think this completely it was deserving.
I agree too. At first, I learned that they won for a spoiler before I watched the episode and was like, that's crazy. Utopia should win. Then I was like, oh yeah, nope, I get it.
It was very smooth.
I get
they
it.
Did good.
They did amazing.
That's a group right there,
And then we go to the Snake team.
Oof.
And just everything. Like I said, I was frustrated all day yesterday. And okay. So they, at the interim evaluation, did their parts and everything. Richie is the main vocalist. The way they edited this whole thing is just, I am so over you, mnet. They showed the interim check and the practice and the part of it. And they edit out Richie's part, everything about her main vocal part, which this song does have a big part in the middle where the main vocalist is doing like a few lines and then a high note and like whole killing part situation. They edited that out and then only showed her at the part where they go bam, 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 all together. They're all together going bam, 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 and said, that was just boring. That was just not enough energy. I think you guys should change the main vocalist.
As somebody on the subreddit said, why didn't they just say, why don't you try it by doing this, have them run through it again, and then be like, all right, it's not working.
Doesn't that seem like a more solvable problem than, how about what if we set you up to fail and have you switch the main vocalist part to a whole different person, even though you've already practiced it one way, and we honestly have no idea, the viewers, how Richie sounded in that main vocal high note part, because we never got to see it. We saw her do the tryout last week, and she sounded good, even though she said her throat was sore. We didn't get to hear it. We didn't get to see the whole situation to understand why that decision was made. And part of me feels like because she didn't have a problem with that part of the song, because if she would have flubbed that and messed up her high note in the true main vocal part of the song, they would have loved to have shown her fail. Yeah. But clearly they didn't show it, so she must not have failed. But they're like, well, the bam, bam, bam is a little boring, so you should change main vocal to yawning.
As I referred at the beginning of the show, this is part of the confusion that the show is dealing with. The fallout from their heavy-handed attempts to blow everything up. They now have Richie, who maybe was even feeling a little ill, mentioning her throat, and she just looked really tired.
She looked really down.
It's getting to her.
Yeah.
But they're now dealing with, all right, we're going to suggest that Richie steps down and throw Fu Yanning in there. We're going to edit them both poorly at some point, and then Fu Yanning's not even going to hit the note that she should have hit. And you could see them when they're doing the interim, like the dress rehearsal. Yeah. They're going, oh no. And they're like, hey, Yanning, you're going a little fast. And she's, all right, I'll fix that. And they're like, oh, they're calm. And then Fu Yanning tries to note, and they're like, oh, what did we do? And you can see a bit of panic in there, like, what is happening here?
But they don't address it. It's like this elephant in the room, and they just don't address it.
Well, that's what I mean. But you know that, I'm saying it once you hear her mess it up later. Right. You know that they're trying to influence these girls, but they're not dealing with them much. So they just throw in a couple things and leave, kind of like him going, it shouldn't be cute, bye, I'm out of here. They're doing that kind of thing. And the C group, this powerhouse of a team, granted, they're playing something, they're singing something that has been done a million times before on this show, kind of sexy, grindy stuff. Not a lot. Not a lot, but it's a little bit. It's a bit much. And they made this team look disjointed, and I think it might be part of mnet's tries to make the C group look bad or like they're not talented or something, but they're absolutely talented. These girls are
Yeah.
heads above so many other of the other contestants, and I think they're panicking a bit because they realize, or they think, C group, we might have a lot of C group in this final group, and it's panicking them a bit. And the girls, I think,
Then why
appear
build the
panicked.
show? Like, that's just... I'm to the point now, like I said, I'm like kind of over it because I'm just tired of that. Like, why build the show around this concept of
already
having C group? Why make us vote evenly throughout this whole time? Why show them in such a wonderful light early in the show where you make me fall in love with all of them and I like them, and then now try to like backstab about all that?
Yeah, but look,
you haven't changed my mind. I'm still voting for Richie. I'm still
Yeah.
voting for her. Like, and they just like broke down her confidence to the point where she just looked miserable. And I am not watching this to see something like that. I'm not watching this to be witness to them like
it's
emotionally
yeah.
torturing these poor girls.
It's-
That is not what I signed up for at the beginning of this.
Yeah.
That is not what I thought. We wanted
Yeah.
people to succeed. I thought the point of this is that we have a good time, we succeed, we have good performances, we're happy at the end. It's not to just rip people down and rip them apart. Like, I hate that.
Well, we have
and they
to-
set up
yeah.
yawning too. I'm not like a super fan of hers either, but wow, how like they set her up. That was a setup.
Right.
And to have her like be out of her range on that note and to not do it well, and then to not even attempt to help her, and then just not even talk about it, and just have it be in the middle of the song like a huge like ruin the song. Go listen to the Spotify version, everybody.
Yeah.
I was thoroughly convinced yesterday throughout all day that was Richie on the recorded version. Now I don't know. Maybe it wasn't Richie
Doing
on the
the role,
recorded.
yeah, doing
Maybe it
Yanning's
was
part.
Yanning. Maybe they are kind of similar. But when I first heard the recorded version, I was like, "That's Richie in main vocal part," but I'm not sure. But watch the performance. Someone edited the performance with the Spotify sound over it.
Right.
It looks and sounds great.
Yeah.
Like the song is really good and they sound really good. It upsets me. And it's like this unrealistic expectation that you would sing live during this hard dance and do this high note and get it perfect. When in the reality, when we've talked about this before, debuted groups aren't 100% singing live, especially on music shows.
Yeah.
Like they are at concerts. That's a different vibe and experience. But like on a music show, you just kind of want it to sound good.
And look good.
Like, come on, at the end of the day.
I mean, we have to remember this is mnet and this is K-pop. From the beginning, mnet said we can't rig the votes. We've got an eye on us. But what we're going to do is
I'm tired
there's
of it.
50% of the votes go to Koreans, and everybody's like, "Cool, it's K-pop. We understand that." But from the
Right.
beginning, we all
And
knew
even
what
with
was
that,
going on.
and even with that, they have a ranked number one in Shouting, who is
This is what I'm
at
saying.
C group, and who as far as her doing on this song, I thought it was great. She did a great job. I thought her outfit was a little bit too spicy.
Yeah, it was a little too much.
It was just a little bit too spicy. I was like, wow, that's a lot, lady. So I don't
And
know.
I wanted to
I
see.
thought
We
that-
talked about this. I thought that Katone's rap and the quantity
Yeah.
of her rap, I'm sorry, J group. Why am I forgetting her name? all of a sudden?
Hikaru.
Hikaru. Duh. Sorry. If she would have went to You Plus Me and did that rap, she would have
Yeah.
destroyed it. Her quote unquote rap in this part is like 3 lines.
It's so
And I was like,
Hikaru's
oh,
rap.
no,
Like
it
I
could've
have
been
been
more.
saying
Not
forever
nothing against her, but
since the beginning. Like I need to see Hikaru rap. I think that's her strength, and we just haven't seen it. They gave her the part. She kills it, but it's like 2 seconds. But she does so good in those
Yeah.
2 seconds.
she's on the ground half the time too.
And again, in her part, she's like on the ground, so they didn't even make the choreography something that accommodated her doing well. But even she did, and Chai Bing too. Like the two of them rapping together, that was a really good part of the song.
It was just so fast.
And it was just so small.
You're like, oh, cool. They're gonna. Oh, it's done. Move on.
Yeah, it was just a little bit too short. I would like if this was a debuted group and this was their song, I would have liked to give her a whole verse, man. Give her
Yeah.
a verse. She's really good.
Look at what Purple Kiss is doing with Yuki. They're giving her
yeah,
two
like that.
verses and stuff. They're using the rap a lot more without it being. It feels
Yeah.
even, and they should have done. Here, I just all we had with Hikaru, and
Yeah.
there was just on and off.
But
and I was
if
like,
you-
but Katone got to do like
Yeah.
2 or 3 good lines, And
If you watch her fan cam though, Hikaru's fan cam, she just kills this whole thing. She
Of
just
course.
eats it up, yeah. So I was super happy to see that because I love her from the beginning and have been voting for her this whole time.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
I'm a little uncomfortable
yeah.
with young people doing this kind
it
of
was
stuff.
a bit too spicy. The outfits are what made it a little bit
You
too
just-
spicy for
yeah.
me. The outfits were.
I mean,
a
it's
little bit...
modern music. We can't. You have kids on TikTok, who are 13 doing
I know, but that's
doing
all I can
songs,
think.
and it's just like I understand that it's not what it is, but it's just kind of like, look,
Yeah.
I can't roll with that stuff. But she's
you know.
great. This was a great group. I think what the takeaway from this is they created a mess. Maybe they wanted to just create a mess in the C group and break them down. I don't know. But you're not going to look at how it backfired with Yanni. They tried to edit her this way, and at the beginning,
Everybody
I knew
likes
this
her
was
now.
an edit. This was not what it was. Trust me.
Yeah.
And now everybody's like, it backfired. Oh my God, I love her story. She was seen as such a jerk, and now it's just like this is going to backfire on them. I think even though all their efforts and their 50% Korean votes, I think in the end you're going to have more J and C than Korean.
I don't think that's the case. Okay, but that's it for Snake Team. They mentioned
we
at
didn't miss anybody, did we? Got them all? Okay.
Then at the very end of the show, they mentioned, oh, there's one more mission, and it's the OO mission, so it's not like a new song or anything. We talked about it a while back. They had us vote for a 9-person group for OOO or whatever. How that correlated my 9-pick into these groups here, I have no idea.
That's what we're wondering.
At the end of the day, I don't actually think it matters.
Well, at the end of episode 10, he says, he's showing the preview for the next. He says, here's what's going to happen. We've already picked the teams, and he's calling out their names, and they're happy running through their teams or whatever. And a lot of people are saying, you said it might just be by rank.
I think it's by rank.
I think so too, but I think that it has to do with those votes that we made. And a lot of people are crying foul just because the idea here is you go to each one of these cams for each one of these groups and you like it.
Not the group cam, the individual person's fan cam.
Right, but I'm saying on this one as well, you can't see the like numbers either.
Correct. You can't. So the voting for this mission is not in Universe app. It's going to the YouTube fan cams of the individual girls.
Okay.
The individual
Which I
girls,
did
because
as
there's
well.
one for everybody, and click like on that video. They've hidden the likes so we can't see how many everyone has, which is like, okay. And it only counts for the first 24 hours, so it's coming up on the end of the counting for that anyway.
It's Saturday for us.
You had to
right now.
really be paying attention.
So what do the likes to these groups count for then? What is that?
Nothing, I don't think.
I mean, it's going to be, I don't know. That's what I'm confused about. I didn't understand the mission. Maybe it was easier to understand in Korean.
I don't understand what they get out of it. They just said it's a mission, and the winner is based off of how many likes their fan cam gets.
I think I believe he said the likes will be turned into points or something. I thought he said something, not necessarily likes.
Too
but
much.
I think he said,
That's
we'll watch it
too
again.
much.
Correct me if I'm wrong, audience, but he mentioned something about the.
That's too much.
I thought I'll need to watch it again.
If it's that's too much.
Well, again, I watched the individual
That's
fan
chaos at
cams
its
for
points.
Bora, and she's
I
got at least 9 below
It
her
might
as
be
well,
a
I think.
benefit in some way, but not
That's what I'm-
necessarily equal to a vote.
No, it was something like that.
Because that you can screw around and have 100 YouTube accounts, and
That's what the
not
guy
fair.
on Reddit,
It's
somebody
not fair.
on subreddit, the person on subreddit said, "Well, what's going to stop somebody from bot and button?" I said, "I don't know, but I'm not doing that. I'm doing.
I know, but that's why I don't think they would translate to the same equal weight of a vote
No, I know.
in the Universe app.
That was,
I don't
I
think
heard
it's
something
that.
like that.
Right.
I don't remember what it was.
Anyway, we don't know what it is. Anyway, my main takeaway is look at this group right here is the debut team. Just FYI.
It's a strange mix, but all of them work.
I will bet you $5 today this is the debut team, and if it is, other than Young-un, I'll live with it.
Who was the one we thought probably should? I can't remember who was one there. We were kind of like, eh.
This is the debut team.
Yeah, Dion. I think.
Yeso, Richie, Yurina, Diane, Yujin, Xiaoting, Chaehyun, Mashiro, and Hikaru.
I would agree with that. I would like to see
that's
Dion
a solid
replaced
debut
with
team.
Young-un, though.
Me too.
Easily.
That's a personal preference.
I wanted some chaos.
But that's
I
what
want
I would
some
see.
funny people. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if
So
that
I
happened.
talked about how instead of thinking in terms of top 9 right now, because I don't have only 9, is that I am thinking in terms of a tier list, and this is what I made as my tier list for my feelings about the final group. So
This is more of an organization of people rather than a tier list, right?
it's a tier. That's what a tier list is.
Oh, I know, but usually it's associated with likes and less,
No, this is just like my feelings about the final group.
How
So
it'll go.
As far as I think that Yujin, Yurina, and Xiaoting, the top number 1 rank for each of the CJK teams are inevitable. I think that they will make it to the end without question.
Okay.
I really think that they are.
I think
inevitable.
Eugen has the.
I think everybody needs to
is
make
the
room in their
lowest,
top
but-
9 for all of those 3. Honestly,
If you're being realistic, they're not in my top 9 at all. But
But
You're
this
being
is
realistic.
what I'm saying about what I think is going to happen. This is my 4 that I am heavily emotionally invested in, and if they do not make it into the group, I'm going to fight somebody. I'm going to fly to Korea.
Yeah.
I'm going to find an mnet producer, and we're going to fist fight.
I think this is an accurate.
We're
take
gonna,
as well.
we're going to fist fight,
think
and
yeah.
that is, and I say that because they're making us do 1 picks, which makes this even more difficult.
Yeah.
But it's Youngun, Richie, Hikaru, and Yeso. Those are my 4 that just like in my heart, I need them there or I'm angry.
For me, it's Bora and Wunja. It's just for me. Those are my people I have to see in the group.
I don't think they have a chance.
I don't think so either. But
And
it's mine.
this is my kind of, I'll take it or leave it. Either way is like totally fine. I think they probably have chances to make it, and I'm cool with that, which is Mashiro, Chaeyeon, and Daeyeon. Like, it's fine. And then I put a low chances tier, meaning like these are mostly the people that
They flirted with success.
that's a good way to put it. They've either maybe spent a brief time in the top 9 but aren't there now, have really good potentials.
Planet Pass.
Who knows what's going to happen with the Baye solo stands, like voting when we get to 1 pick territory.
Yeah.
Chaos. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And like, Suyeon and them. So like, this is like, it's not a 0% chance, but I think it's kind of a low percent chance.
Yeah, I agree.
That make it in
I
there.
would agree with that.
And this is
Not that that's how I want it, but I would agree.
The people that I think just realistically don't have a chance.
Yanni and I
make
disagree
it.
with. I think she has
To make it in the final group in the end.
Yeah, I
she's
think
never been
probably,
in top 9.
I know, but
And they're weighing against C group votes.
she might pull up and take away Richie's votes. People
don't
might start.
Don't even speak it into existence.
I don't want it to. I'm just saying I like them. I like all these girls. They're all really.
I
good.
like them all too. I'm just saying that this is how I feel. This is how I feel. And for voting strategy, once we get after next week, some of these girls would be eliminated, but probably mainly from this lower.
It's going to go down to
18 total.
Yeah.
And they're going to start us on the 1 pick, which is really hard for me. But my rational thought is that as international fans, if you have a pick that is in J or C group, you need to be voting for them and not K group. Because K group, the Korean audience are going to vote for K group. I mean, it's a generalization to say that, but I think it's a fair one.
I think
And their votes weigh twice as much as us. Like, literally, they weigh twice as much as us.
Yeah.
So, in Richie's, like, all of her top 9 positions have been secured by the international fan vote, not by Korean vote. So, for me, I think I have to vote for her if I want her to be in the end.
I think that's a good idea.
And maybe a little Hikaru, but I think... And then I have to leave my K group faves in the hands of fate.
Of K group or other people. I think a lot of K group will surprise you with voting C group, especially, or in some J group. But I think there's something there. Remember, Mashiro is
maybe
so
for
popular.
shouting, maybe Mashiro, but
shouting
not Richie.
If you look at this group, because this is who's left, right? This is 26 people. We counted it, right? All you have to do is minus 6, right, to get down to 18. I'm sorry, 8. So that's once you start minusing 8, you can see how many people that will go past that cut have had the attention and stuff. Like Rurika probably won't make it. I doubt.
I don't think
she hasn't
so.
had any.
I love her. I love her. I adore her.
Katoni probably may. But there will be a lot of movement at the end, at the bottom end. At the top, it's not going to fluctuate like you said here,
I don't
King and
know,
all
man.
that. So, but I think there'll be some. I think there'll be some surprises. And like I said last episode, I do believe this. Mnet is still panicking a bit. They have a few tricks up their sleeve to manipulate that group if it starts to lean a certain way.
Yeah.
Or just for poos and peas, they just like, hey, you know what? We're adding a 10th member or something. I don't know, but there's some kind of trick they have. Whether they employ it or not, I don't know. But
so that's my tier list. Next time we have the elimination round, top 17, regardless of group, +1 planet pass, which I think will go to Bora.
I think she'll make it, and they'll give it to somebody else. That's my prediction. I think she'll be at the bottom. She'll make it past.
If she does, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with Bora going to the final episode. I just, it's so hard to say. Like, part of me just feels like, oh, it's going to be really predictable with the final group and the final episode. And part of me is like, I watched Island, man. You guys,
Yeah, it's the torture.
it was chaos. chaos.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying at the beginning.
Island was chaos. They literally took the rank at the top and the bottom rankings. I'm talking with my hands even though you can't see it, and they flipped it. The people that were at the bottom were at the top, and the people that were at the top were at the bottom because of weird panic voting and stuff like that.
Now, did they have a similar makeup of it has to be so many Koreans and?
No, Island was just 20-something people.
Oh, okay, that's such a small amount.
I know, they started with so few, but
That's
anyway.
horrible.
But it was just like.
Do we think
it made me feel like you shouldn't be comfortable about your faves. You really should vote for your fave and not feel that they're safe or anything like that. Like you've got to, even if they're popular, you just need to stick to your fave.
Here's what I'm thinking. The next episode will be they're going to make those groups, the 9 for the OO song, and then I guess that's is it 3 groups of 9?
Something like that.
Or no, it was
It's
all the
3
people
groups.
have whatever it is. Anyway, no, it was. I'm sorry, not 9, but enough to make the number that's there before elimination. And that'll spend some time. I don't know if they'll have anything funny or anything. They don't have time for that.
I wish they would.
And then they'll do eliminations, and then the OOO stuff will come into effect on the last episode. So that
they'll come out. They'll do 009 person, and then they'll do the live.
Right, because mnet can always say
that's what
these votes count for blah 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 points or whatever, but they can always just manipulate those little numbers. Not manipulate it, but in broad daylight, they can just
not literally change the numbers,
right.
but
They can just say it's worth
the weight
more here,
or something like
after
that.
they see who won, they could say we were going to say it was 2 points, but let's say it's 4. You know, whatever they want.
Okay.
They can do whatever they want.
Okay. But,
and go watch the Liang twins if you YouTube the Liang twins. There's a channel that puts up their content, and there's Jiao, I think it was. Reacting to shoot and stuff. So there's some good stuff out there.
She's back home now quarantining and did a reaction to shoot and she promised us that she would do a dance cover. So I'm looking forward to it.
How adorable they are.
I love her.
And then you're watching, you're like, oh, I remember now.
And Chaeyoon is active on her Instagram again. And she and Jiao hung out in Korea whenever that was after it was over
buddies.
with. Mnet made it seem like they hated each other. They did not. And Jiao confirmed for us that she was having health issues. That's why she was going to the bathroom.
Oh.
So,
poor girl.
So I feel it personally insulting that they make Richie's yawning into some sort of, oh, she's yawning because she doesn't care. Just like they did with Jiao, she's going to the bathroom because she doesn't care. Like, that's personally insulting to me at this point. Like, people have health issues. She could have been exhausted.
People get tired, yeah.
I'm done with you. And I'm glad we're towards the end.
Until the next series.
I've had it. Until the next one, and I go through all of this again.
It's a love-hate thing.
Okay. Okay, we'll
2 more episodes to go.
Next time. Thank you for coming on this angsty journey with us.
And if the group is amazing, maybe we'll do the groups podcast for the next 5 years.
I think we should.
5 years. We'll have to tie ourselves into their contract.
When we get to the last episode of our podcast for the final episode, I'll talk about what I think that we'll do after. Because I think we should keep making content.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, everybody. Bye.
Bye.